We good? Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like the third time we've rescheduled
I
or
think
like
so.
tried to do it.
Yeah.
But we're here finally, and that's
Yeah.
what counts.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this.
I'm very excited too.
Mostly because, like, you're one. Actually, you might be the only person in the community that I know personally that I like watched grow. You know,
Yeah.
Because when I met you, you were on the junior team of Wannabes,
Yep.
and so young.
21.
21? Damn,
21.
how old are you now?
26.
So, damn, so 5 years.
5
That's
years.
crazy.
Yep.
It doesn't even feel like that, to be honest.
It does and doesn't. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I remember going to I believe it was like a holiday party or something.
The Thanksgiving party.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that was like the first time I like really noticed you, because I'd only like done like a random gig or two with the bees. And then like immediately I was like, oh, this kid got something. Like, cause like I feel like the B team was more on the shy side. Like everyone
yeah.
was younger,
Yeah,
you know, not really like
yeah.
out of their shells yet.
Yeah.
And then, but not you.
And that's like it's really interesting because I look back and I always tell people and they never believe me. I was like super introverted.
Yeah?
Super introvert. Like, it surprises me that I even like decided to start dancing.
It surprises me.
Like at the time that I did, everyone's like, "That's like late."
When
like
when did you start?
like 20 like that year.
Really?
At 21 that was like the first time I ever took a class or anything.
Did you like grow up just
Like,
dancing at parties?
Not even. Like
Really?
I would dance. I mean, I would like dance in like my room and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was like it.
Holy shit! I'm like
Yeah.
legitimately shocked. Wait.
Yeah.
So you never. Wait. So what made you want to start dancing?
So okay. So like dance was like always like relevant in my life. I grew up. I grew up like a huge fan of like NSYNC.
Yeah.
So I had like them live at Madison Square Garden on VHS.
Yeah.
And I'd watch that like religiously.
Oh my god! I forgot about that.
And then I got older and like did sports. So dance kind of like came in and out for a period. And then like I'm in like probably middle school when the ABDC comes out.
Yeah.
And-
Just turn the mic towards you. Yeah.
Oh, it's
yeah,
the same.
Yeah.
Oh, copy. Just
Yeah, right there.
all right. No, yeah. So ABDC comes out, and
Right.
I'm just like fixated. I'm just obsessed with like Jabberwockies. I remember watching like the first 3 seasons religiously, and then that put me on this path to start watching stuff online. So I see like all these teams. See,
It's just like
just like when I'm gaming. It's no, I watch all these teams online now. So that's when I'm like discovering Quest Crew and all these other Cali teams. And through them, I find out about like Company and Cookies
Yeah.
and just like all of like the big teams out on the West Coast at the time. And so for years, that was like the extent that I knew dance,
Yep.
other than like just like regular commercial stuff. So for a while, on and off, I would try to find a studio that taught more choreo. Like now, I would know it more as like hip hop,
Right.
choreo, or like foundations.
Right.
But at the time, I didn't have like the vernacular for that.
Yeah.
So I would just like test different search terms for like years until randomly in 2018, I type it in and like 2 or 3 pages in, I see the Hive.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, because everything else was like youth studios, like 4 through
Yeah.
17
Where it's
classes.
Like,
and
you're
I'm
doing ballet, jazz, hip hop.
like,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like studio hip hop too, which is like cool,
Right.
but like wasn't what I was trying to like
Right.
find. And yeah, it wasn't until I found like the old Hive, I was like, whoa, this looks like what I've been trying to find for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, I have a pretty similar origin.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, like, I didn't really take it seriously or anything until around, like, the ABDC era.
Yeah.
And, like, once I saw that, I was just like, yo, this is it. This is
Yeah.
what I've always liked. And then, it wasn't until, like, I found Hip Hop Theory, really, that I really, like, legitimately started training. Like, I was in, like a neighborhood sort of company,
Right.
for like a year, which ironically enough, I met Hip Hop Theory through that company, and then
Yeah.
didn't join till like years later.
Okay.
But yeah, that's wild though, because
Yeah.
you, like I said, like I would have thought like you've been dancing since like you were a kid, like.
I mean, like I was moving, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I didn't know what anything I was doing was, like where anything came from. I was just like that kid just like shaking in his room,
Yeah.
basically, just doing whatever.
So what was that like jumping into a choreo world? Was it just like shell shock, like, yo, what is this?
It was a bit of a shell shock in, like, it was tough, and I've talked to some people about this recently. What was tough was hopping into a space where a lot of other people had experience, to some degree at least. Like, even though I started in beginner classes, pretty quickly,
Yeah.
the people around me were like, yo, you should hop into, like, this intermediate, try this advanced.
Right.
And I'm, like, only, like, a month or so in. So, like, even though, like, there was, like, a quality of movement that I guess other people saw,
Right.
and really that's why they wanted to push me to try it, I think retention-wise and just, like, mindset going into space, seeing everybody else already have this level of just skill and, like, understanding within a class that I didn't have yet was, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be intimidating as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you haven't done anything like that. And It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, but it's awesome to know that, like, people see something in you.
yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that just confirms, like, because I definitely saw it, too.
Yeah, I
But hell
appreciate
yeah,
that.
especially for choreo specifically, because it's so much based on retention, memory, and
Yeah.
you know, hitting things over and over again the right
Yeah.
way. Hell yeah, that's intimidating when you're first starting out.
Yeah.
Did you have like any I don't know, like did you develop any like tricks or like ways to keep up, you know?
I think one of the earliest things I got told that I think transformed how I thought about choreo classes was actually from Jay Deshawn. He
Shout out to Jay.
shout out to Jay Deshawn, because yeah, he was like one of those people who was just there pretty consistently. He had a slot at the Old Hive
Yeah.
very consistently. I would take his class as much as I could. His style of dance, like his like street jazz choreo, is so full out that he would constantly remind us that like you can't mark this really. There's some pieces that like you can try to mark it, but
Yeah.
it will not feel the same when you do it full out.
Yeah.
So I started trying in classes similar to that to, even if like I'm like dying of exhaustion, just like I'm gonna do this full out. So it's like in your body. The way that like muscle memory develops that way, it's like just different.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like I find, especially now, the thing I probably struggle with the most in dance is retention. Like if I take a class, but for some reason when you fully commit to it without really thinking about it too much,
Yeah.
it comes out better.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of like trying to remember like what comes next.
Yeah.
That's good, and yeah, that totally makes sense. That like his class would invoke
Yeah.
that. It won't
was-
let you slow down.
It will not. Absolutely will not. And Jay Sean's like, it's funny, cause like, so we both like are like asthmatic.
Oh shit.
So it's funny to watch him like fully like going like 3 rounds full out,
Yeah.
step to the side, hit a quick puff, and he's like, all right, we're gonna run that again. I'm like, are you okay? Do you need?
Sure.
I have like an oxygen tank. We can.
We can take a rest.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. So since you kind of just jumped in, you know, knowing like, seeing like the hip hop that like Jabba did, right? So like, obviously they do a lot of foundational stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Did you start finding like a specific style that you were like gravitate towards more?
Like at the time, or like.
Yeah, like coming up where you like getting into like oh like I really love popping. Or, like,
Ooh. So yeah, my like attraction towards different foundations didn't come till later. I think people would note in seeing me move what they thought would fit my body more.
Okay.
But on like a personal interest, that didn't come until actually being exposed to like the like actual root foundations, like people who taught foundational classes or go into battles and stuff.
Got you.
Yeah, I think popping has always been like super like interesting to me, and just seeing different freestylers manipulate the musicality and like their different mindsets and approaches, that's like been a foundational style I think that's like really kind of grabbed my eye the most. Yeah.
You said you started like seeking out foundation.
Like once so after I moved to New York a couple years ago, there's a lot more access to foundations out here than in Jersey.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Jersey's pretty like heavy in the choreo scene.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will come out here seeking foundational training. And it wasn't until I came out here and I saw a bunch of different both instructors and just people who just danced that I was like it just like added a new avenue of things to explore within dance.
Nah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I love like that there is that umbrella of hip hop, you know, that we can just love as movement. You know, where it's like the grooves are like the choreo itself. But then if you want to go deeper, there's so much to learn. So much. But it's like history, foundation. There's just like, and so many avenues you can take.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, like obviously like a lot of people come to New York, so like something like EXPG was you know like a huge hub for that.
Yeah.
But it's great to see, you know, even though they had to close that, like Bodega has kind of plugged that hole. Like, we've mentioned it a few times on the pod already, but
it's funny
true.
because when I moved to New York, there was a little bit of overlap between when I kind of stepped out of the like dance team scene, and there was a space where I was like, I don't know what dance is gonna be, because like when you start in like community, that's kind of the extent of what you see dance.
Right.
But being able to have Bodega as a space to explore dance outside of teams, and the way that they incorporate so many incredible foundational teachers, it was like like a buffet of just like pick what you want to do and you can just hop right in.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I noticed you recently taught at Bodega, right?
I've done a couple like pop-ups.
Are you getting into teaching regularly?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm like discovering that I really enjoy teaching choreo. I've like tried to figure out, because I think I've talked to like people like Edson, and I think it's really important that people have an intention with teaching.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so I'm trying to make sure I approach that right, and I'm not just like in it for things that don't benefit the people who are like taking class.
Totally.
But yeah, I've discovered that I really do enjoy teaching a lot, and so I'm trying to see where that goes. Yeah.
I know myself well enough to know that I'm just not a teacher in anything. Like I just can't teach people well.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I always commend teachers, anyone that teaches anything.
Yeah.
It's like what aspect of teaching do you find like grabs you that you're like, I like this?
I think just being able to watch people who naturally move differently explore a piece that you made and not needing it to be executed exactly how you do it. It's like really dope to see people explore the movement, how they interpret it with the music, how they interpret the movement themselves.
Yeah.
It's just it just feels really gratifying to just kind of just offer up this thing that other people can then use as a vehicle for their movement in a way.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then are you sticking to training and stuff at all, like just for yourself, like?
But yeah.
Yeah.
I've been like more recently I've been super in like just lockdown, both like physically training, like working out a bunch, trying to like get in like really good shape. I did an intensive with Kai in June, and that really put in perspective like where I need to be physically and mentally.
Put the intense in intensive.
Because you know Kai, he's an intense guy, and he's very serious about his craft. So,
I mean, rightfully so.
No, yeah.
He's at a level that
it's insane.
Requires that.
It's insane. Yeah.
No, that's good though. So like, what I guess because you know you've gone through the team aspect and stuff, right? Now you're kind of building your own sort of Malik dance legacy and stuff. What do you kind of see for yourself, or like what are things that you really want to cement in your dance life?
Ooh. I think since I've started kind of navigating my own path, it's really been important to me how I move, making sure I move in a way that's like very respectful to the people around me. Like, I don't like being a person who has like the attention on them often, or it's like too
Feel
much. I'm like I did a piece for the warm up last year. It was my first time putting like something on stage, and it was. I tried to be very mindful of everybody, because not only was like the people who were down, they're all very dope, and they're all like individuals who have like their own things to do, and I was trying to be as understanding to like, you have a life. I don't want to be this person that just jumps in and expects a crazy amount. It's just, just trying to be very grateful for the people like around me. And let that kind of drive how I move, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way with like things that even like this.
Yeah.
Like asking these guys to be here and like asking like you to be here. That's already like a lot for me, just because I'm the type of person that, again, like I'm just like very aware of like people's time, and, energy and stuff like that. So like I try to remind myself that like, the people that I involve myself with, that I work with, that I'm friends with, they all want to be there too. Like I'm not forcing them to be there, So like you said, just trying to remain grateful, and remind myself that it's like, no, like we're in this together. No, I feel that though.
Yeah.
Speaking of the warm up, I know you were in a bunch of pieces. Did you put anything on this year?
Not this year.
Okay, got you. How many? You said 4 pieces?
4 pieces.
Yo.
Yeah.
What was that? Well, I mean, what was the warm up like? Because I couldn't even go. I wanted
warm
to
up
go.
in general was really fun this year. Yeah.
That's good.
It was a lot of, I mean, even Steven was mentioning earlier, it was a lot of incredibly talented people.
That's
and it
good
was
to hear.
so much fun watching. It had to have been like hundreds of dancers, and all of them are just like incredibly, immensely talented.
That's good.
Yeah.
And honestly, pleasantly, not surprising, but like, that's refreshing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie, coming off the pandemic, those first few preludes, people were looking janky. Like, things were not hitting. People were clearly not training during the pandemic.
Right.
But it's good to hear that things are bouncing back.
Yeah.
I mean, warm-up's just a showcase, right? It's not a comp.
Yeah, everyone's just there for fun.
And sometimes that happens, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's like a pressure off for just a showcase. So like
Right.
people tend to have more fun with it, But yeah, no. I mean, I will say though, the last New England prelude we did really showed a level up. Like it's like, okay, things are happening.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
What were the 4 whose pieces were you in?
I was in Reese Smith's.
Hell yeah, Reese put a piece on.
Yeah, he had a piece on stage. Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, videos are probably coming out soon. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
I was in his. I was in Kendrick's. I was in Jason Diaz's.
Okay.
And then I was in Bold.
Of course.
Yeah.
With like 80 other people.
With like on that tiny stage.
With
like,
everyone that was at the warm up.
Yep. Honestly.
I saw. I'm guessing this had to be the Bold performance, because I've only seen like little bits and pieces so
on
far.
like people's stories.
Yeah. I think it was Edson had to come in for something, but he came in too early, and then
it was really funny. That's low key my fault that
For
he
real?
didn't make it on stage.
What did you do?
So the closer, there's a group of us that are on stage. When I come in for that section, I'm like back line. And then there's a full 8 for people to transition. Some people go off stage in the wings, grab microphones, come back on to hit that last little groove. And every time we had rehearsed it, Edson had been busy and couldn't make like a rehearsal. So I had it in my head who I knew needed to cross before I moved up to my spot. And so I think it's Katrina Indozo and Alice Wu, they cross. And in my head, I'm like, I'm good. And I move up, and then like the hole just closed immediately, and he has nowhere to go, and he just like trying to groove as he's walking in. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my fault.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, I think I think Bo did like a small version of that at the jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That's
that
what
was
that was.
that was the first time he put that together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he did it for Elements.
That's right. I did see
but
that.
on a bigger scale. Yeah.
Yeah, because Elements.
Yeah.
Were you there for that one?
Yeah.
How was Elements this past year? I didn't go this year.
It was good. That was my first time performing at Elements.
Yeah,
and
good for you.
I was nervous.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that because it's still like the name still is Elements.
Yeah.
But I just went for the first time. Like it wasn't that one. It was the year before.
Yeah.
And of course going, I was like, oh shit, like this is Elements.
Yeah.
And then I got there and I was like, yeah, this is Elements.
Yeah.
Because by now it's like I'm just watching a bunch of my friends perform.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's not like this like grand like thing in my head.
Yeah.
You know? Because I would only watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I was such a like you were saying, like just like keywording shit and like going
Yeah.
down rabbit holes of like whatever I could find. Like
Yeah.
that was my early exposure too. So I
Yeah.
get it. And Elements was definitely one of those places that
Yeah.
seemed like the land of Oz type. Like it was like
Yeah.
Elements and like the vibe. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I grew up watching like Vibe and Body Rock.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, Body Rock too.
religiously. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, good times.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that. Fuck, I was gonna ask you about the warm up. Oh yeah, so 4 pieces, right? What's your performance meter like? Like, are you like just trying to do as much performing as possible right now?
Ooh.
Yeah, like
Oh,
what's-
why did I do 4 kind
yeah,
of thing?
because like me personally, right? Like I love dance, I love to dance, I love
Yeah.
everything it is. But I know me personally, like my performance meter is maxed out. Like I have
Right.
no desire to perform anymore.
Yeah.
So like I'm
Yeah.
curious, like where you at in your performance meter?
I still really enjoy
Yeah.
performing. It's a whole different like mindset and just like feeling. And it's like not like you have to be on stage to perform. Like I've learned that too. Like you could take a class and just fully like immerse yourself in the song and in the piece, and
Hell yeah.
you're gonna evoke the same thing. But
Yeah.
just I don't know. I don't know if it's like just like the live feedback. I don't know if I just like the adrenaline of just like a crowd of people, which is weird because I literally was just saying I don't like people staring at me, but then like the adrenaline of people. I don't know.
It's different.
Part of me makes. I think it maybe influences, like it improves or like forces me to kind of like step up a bit more.
Yeah.
It accesses like a different level that
Yeah.
I might not get in just a class.
No, I feel that. Yeah. It's definitely a productive way to face like a quote unquote fear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like for putting yourself out of the comfort zone.
Right.
And like you said, it's a force because people are watching. Not only that, like you're in a position where you're a teammate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're performing with like, you know, a group. So it's like you have to pull your own weight, you know, you're not trying to make them look bad.
Yeah.
So it does kind of force you to put that sort of like fear aside and just be like, no, like I'm here for this.
Yeah.
No, I get. And then the live feedback is definitely a huge part of it. Like,
yeah.
I think that's why anyone who performs live, period, whether it's like dance, music, comedy, whatever,
Yeah.
we all feel that live
Yeah.
feedback energy.
It's, like, and it's funny because I was talking. My sister was asking. She came to the show on Saturday, and she was asking like. She was like, oh, yeah, like, we were there, and we're, like, screaming for, like, you and, like, everybody that, like, we know. It's like, do you, like, hear that? And I'm like, not until, like, the end.
Yeah.
Like, people are always like, oh, I screamed your name. Did you hear that? I was like, not really. But it's, like, it's because, like, it's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And then, like, you just get so focused. Like, I always think of it, like, in, like, sports movies when it's, like the moment where they have to like dial in and like a quarterback drops back and then like the sound the crowd like the focus narrows in. It's like almost like everything darkens. Like that's what it feels like. I'm just like all you hear is the music and then like you hit the final pose and then it's like, oh, there was 400 people here. I forgot.
I remember like so when I was in elementary school, we had like I don't know if it was maybe like once semester or like a seasonal thing. But I remember we would learn dance and perform it at these like random school assembly shows or whatever. And I remember one of the first sort of like stage fright tips I heard from a teacher was like, when you're looking out into the audience, you just stare at the back wall. Or like there was a clock on the back wall, and she was like, just look at the clock. And that was such like a game changer for me. Because it's so true. Like, the audience thinks you're looking at them. They can't tell. And then also, when you're on stage with lights, you can't make out faces for shit.
Everybody's just a silhouette sitting in a chair.
And then you just get that like sea of noise where it's like you can't really make out anything. So I think that helps a lot too. When you're like trying not to feel that like all eyes on you feeling. It's like you just kind of drown it out and be in that moment. I
would use that for pretty much every performance. This year, like this set with Bold, was the first time I couldn't because the part they had me in was like the opening piece. You know, it's like this. It's a Temptation song, so it's like slower. It's meant to feel like a group performing, singing. We have the mic stands, and I come out and I have to be like. Bo was literally just like, just be real flirty with the crowd. And so I have to like look at people and make eye contact. And it was really hard to like not let that take me out of it. Because it's a whole other aspect to like trying to balance like being engaging, but like being in the performance. Like you're still like acting to an extent.
Exactly.
And then like also making sure you're hitting movement on time. Through all that. It was. When
you add the character, that's one thing. But to keep the timing, especially when you're opening it, because like, that it kicks off with you like you have to start that energy. That's pressure, but that's good.
It was good pressure. It was one of those things like you said, like had to step up to the plate. Because Edson was the first person who did that. He was that person at the jam. And so when we started prepping for elements, I remember he taught that piece last, and then he's like setting up the mic stands, and he's placing people. And he just looks at me. He's like, "Yep, you're front center. Okay, let's go." And I'm like, "Okay."
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
That's so funny though, cause so like I don't know if you ever noticed like or how much you know about like Broadway theater, like musical theater.
Not much.
Okay, so like usually when like a role gets replaced like with an actor, it's usually an actor who has a similar look, if it's like a specific, looking character. And then also like the vocal range has to be similar as well.
Right.
So you tend to get like actors who sound or like look similar to like previous, people who have played that role.
Right.
And it's like, if I had to replace an Edson role, like Malik is such a perfect person to like fill that.
That's really interesting. That's like, it's one of those like imposter syndrome almost type things, just because Edson is Edson, and he's danced for a minute, and he's established a really just I think credible list of like his accomplishments. So to be put even in like the shadow of someone like him is very much like, if you say so.
But again, story of your life. Like, we see it.
I'm working on seeing it.
But it's a journey. We all have that. It always feels weird when like it's new or like you're not sure, because you're not sure, you know. But sometimes you're too close, Other people see it in a different perspective.
It's really funny. I think I've said that to other people, and it's one of those things like taking your own advice, where I've said to people who have been like very critical of themselves that like it's easy to look at yourself from a lens that's so like just you fixate on the details so much, and also it's that thing of like you constantly see yourself dancing or doing whatever it is all the time, so the amount that you can see improvement or like any sort of growth is very like marginal compared to what other people see, because they don't look at you as much of a under a microscope as you do. So it's sometimes really helpful to have the people like outside reminding you, even if like you don't listen all the time. It's still like
totally. Like for me, it's a vicious cycle of being afraid or, not being confident enough to show people my art.
Yeah.
But then on the chance that they do get to see it, like they're giving me compliments and it's like, oh cool, people get this.
Yeah.
But then it goes back into the I don't know if people are gonna like
it's
this
like
or get it.
that like gratification and feeling okay about the art that you create, I feel like exists for such a short amount of time. That honestly recently I've just been trying to like carry off like the back of whatever the previous thing I did. I feel like I've been doing a lot, and just like keeping it moving, it has helped not get in my head about things. Because if there's always something else to do, I don't have the time to sit there and be like, well, I don't know if I actually like that.
That's a great point. Yeah. Like use that momentum from the last thing to keep pushing into the next thing.
Yeah.
Because it's always starting that's hard.
It is.
It's always the start.
Yeah.
But like once you start, you just start rolling.
Exactly. You don't have to start if you're always just still moving.
Stay ready so you don't got to get
Yeah.
No, it's so true. Damn, that's good. See, you've been beyond your years, in your body and in your mind. So, even though you're heavy on the choreo stuff, are you into the freestyle world at all? Are you?
I've hopped in some foundations. I've considered hopping into a battle, but I tell people I need to be training, like training for. I'm not gonna, and I think that's less of a me thing and more of like a respect that I've had for like the culture of freestyling and the different cultures of each foundation. I don't want to come into a space not prepared,
right?
Or like be that person that like, you can tell they understand what the vibe is, but they're not immersed enough to really like pay homage or do justice to that.
Yeah. No, I feel that. And I mean, there's, obviously it also depends on the environment and like the battle event itself, right? So like something like a Battle 101, that's the more open level stage of like, whatever you got, come with it.
Yeah.
Like, and it could be, beginners to people who battle all the time and everything in between. So like that's always good to have. But of course, like for your own personal sense of accomplishment, like you definitely want to feel like, like I prepped for this,
right?
Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like the hypercritical thing, but I think it's hard for me to. I don't know when that point would be. I don't even think like I could sit here and say like I'll train in popping or I'll train in house for like 3 months and then hop in. Like I don't think it's a set time.
Right.
But also I don't know when I would judge the feeling. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just start taking class and then like a battle pops up and I'll throw myself in.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm putting in that effort to train, it'll feel better than just kind of coming out the blue.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that just happens, I don't think there is a specific sort of like path or journey to follow other than training. Like it's one of those things where it's like you have to do it to get better at it. You can't just study it. It's not gonna happen.
No, it doesn't translate.
Yeah. And I think the that competition aspect of it also puts that extra pressure on it of like, no, I gotta come correct, because it's not just displaying art. Right. It's displaying art in a competitive way.
Right. Yeah. Sessions are like where you can go and just, vibe out with people, explore movement. That's like super dope. But the competition aspect, I think maybe that's why it's also a little hard because I have like a little bit of like if I'm gonna go, like I'm gonna want to try to do something.
I like, as much as I love freestyle and I love battle and I love battle culture, like everything that it is on the spectator level, like I love it as entertainment. Yeah. But then on the dancer level, it's like I know myself enough to know, what level, and again, like what level of respect to have, right? So like something, when Da did his birthday.
Oh, was it 28 rounds?
Yeah, that.
Oh my God,
right?
yeah.
So like, me personally, I don't see myself entering any like battle events anytime soon. But for that, I was like, I would love to vibe out with Da like that, for his birthday. Like that works. Yeah. And yeah, it's about like being able to apply it, in where it feels comfortable for you.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you go to like any of the Bodega sessions?
Before all of the like performances came up, yeah.
Yeah.
I've first started coming to Dega, going to the what's now the every Thursday session, the one that
Yeah.
Da and Paco and Alex
Mm-hmm.
host. I think CJ also hosts
Yeah.
it now too.
Yeah, he's now.
That's what first brought me to Bodega.
For real?
Yeah, was
Because I feel like I see you all the time there now.
Oh no, I live there now.
Okay, yeah.
No, I rent a room in the back. I just sleep there overnight. No, that was the reason why I went. I think it was either Da or Paco hit me up and was just like, they knew I was like kind of slowly like edging my way out of like team life, and they were like, well, if you want to come like just see a different side of dance that's not competition, it's not team choreo stuff, then come out with us. And at the time, it wasn't just hip hop; it was like way more fixated on light feet, and I'd had like an interest in light feet ever since I was like exposed to it.
For sure.
But then just seeing, again, it's like one of those things of just like, it's different to see it like, oh, I'll see a clip on like IG or whatever, but seeing like not just the dance style, but like the culture around it in person, it was very like transformative. Like pivoted how I started viewing dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. And like, especially specifically Paco and Alex, they've kind of introduced sort of like new like modern day side of light feet, especially to the Bodega community.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting crossover to watch.
Yeah.
So like now the Bodega community is now mixing with like the freestyle community that goes to like layer rhythm.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing mad people that be at Bodega showing up to layer rhythm and seeing that crossover is really cool.
That's one of the things I think probably, in my opinion, lends to why seeing so many talented people at the warm-up makes sense. Just, and again, this kind of doubles back to like in Jersey, the access to like freestyle foundations or freestyle instructors isn't as direct. You can go to New York, but for everyone that's not as accessible. People who are in New York and have access to it, like, they take advantage of it. They will use every opportunity if they are really like desiring to learn.
Right.
And what's really cool about it too is there's a lot of people who are like desiring to submerge themselves in a foundation for no other reason than they just love it. Like there are people who are just like, I may never battle, I'll probably never make a house piece, I'll probably never, join like a crew to like crump for real, but like I just love learning this. And like that's the stuff I'm like, that's like, I can't even describe how like cool that stuff is.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Like that purist
Yeah.
approach to it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could have such a pure mind for that. Like I'm always overthinking everything.
Yeah, literally. The amount of people that are just like, I'm just here. Like people Tuesdays at Dega is always Hurak, who is an incredible. That man is something else.
Yes.
That man.
Please give him his flowers.
He needs them all.
Great.
That I've taken that man's class and I know he's got some years on me, and that man moves like he is like 17, like spry, just
legit.
But he will do his like Tuesday class at Dega, and then they do the house session after. I'm like, y'all just sat through an hour and a half of this man just like drilling footwork. Like your calves have to be on fire, and then they just vibe out for another like 2 hours. I'm like, that's love. That is like a passion that's just like you can't put it into words. You just see people. It's like their bodies just refuse to stop.
It's a lifestyle. Like house is definitely one of those styles where like people live it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like breaking's the same way.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those.
Yeah.
And it's funny because house was definitely one of those that I saw and like visually was like, ooh, I love that. I want to learn that, but never knew the vocabulary or like what to call it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up taking a house class in college. And that just like blew the doors open.
Yeah.
But I remember watching like For one of the Step Up movies, they were doing like a promo thing.
Okay.
Where it was like regions of the U.S. would like submit a dance video. So it was like, here's like the South's video, or like here's like the Northeast video, or whatever.
Interesting.
And I think it was this studio out of Miami
Okay.
that like was doing it for the South or whatever. And they had this house section, but again, didn't know it was a house section. I was just like, whoa, that footwork is really cool. I want to learn that.
Yeah.
And then found out it was house. And then even taking it in college was just like, it was just a college class. So it was just like history and foundation, basically.
Oh, interesting.
So that was cool. Like, it was a
Yeah.
cool intro. And then when I started like working in dance and going to events and like meeting like actual house heads and
Yeah.
seeing people, like the exchanges house people have, and like, yo, it's just different. It's cool. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. House, and it's funny. It's funny because I have an interesting, or I'm sure a lot of people do, but there's like the perspective that I'll get from family members who aren't immersed in dance, but they enjoy watching dance. Like I'll talk to my sister, I'll talk to my dad, and you know, there's a style of freestyle that appeals to them very much that I'm like, it's cool, but like this stuff is like so much cooler. But it's hard to explain why it's cooler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think, and it's an appreciation. Once you have like a deeper appreciation and
Yes.
love for dance, then it starts to become apparent why. Not that the other stuff is bad, but this stuff is different.
Right. Like, yeah. And that's with any type of art. Like, once
Yeah.
you have a trained eye
Yeah.
to catch certain things, you have a way deeper level of appreciation.
Yeah.
Like, I always equate it to mixed martial arts. Because, like, I like watching martial arts because I think it's cool. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, I have a best friend who trained in Taekwondo for, like, over 10 years, like, was a teacher and, like, you know, knows the intricacies of it. So, like, watching a fight with him, like, watching a UFC fight, is a completely different experience than me just watching a fight for a fight.
He's like,
you know?
I'm sure, like explaining, like, oh, this hold, like you
Exactly.
don't understand, like how he came out.
Oh,
of,
yeah. Dude, like, he says stuff before it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you better watch that left.
Yep.
Yep, that knee's coming. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it happens.
Yeah.
Like, yo. But yeah, for sure with dance, like,
Yeah.
there's the versions of it that are more entertaining. That's fine.
Yeah.
We all love to be entertained.
Yeah.
But then if you know, and that's why watching battles that have serious, intricate movement in it is like, yo.
Yeah.
Because you know what the person is trying to do or actually doing.
Yeah.
Rather than someone who's like not so, educated on it.
It's really funny seeing like the people who understand it.
Yeah.